Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the main card of UFC 179 right now with our regular guest, Nick Kalikas from MMAOddsBreaker.com, professional MMA odds maker, and also joining us from MMAOddsBreaker.com over the phone is MMA analyst Brian Heminger. All right, guys, Beneil Dariush and Carlos Diego Ferreira. And Ferreira is, of course, a late replacement here, and he's gotten bet up. Right now I'm seeing minus 200, and that was about minus 170, minus 175 a few days ago. Ferreira, of course, undefeated in his career. Dariush has one loss. He's won 2 of his 3 fights in the UFC, and I thought that, obviously this is going to be a great fight. A lot of people are excited to watch this fight from a fan perspective. I thought Ferreira might be a decent bet at minus 170 or minus 175, but the line's creeping up now. It's minus 200. Brian Heminger, first of all, would you have liked Ferreira at 170 or 175? What do you think of him at minus 200?
I would have loved him at 175, but I still like him at minus 200. I know you're not supposed to just rely on MMA math, but their fight that he had against Ramsey Nijem. These guys have the same opponent in common in just their first 2 UFC fights, and Diego Ferreira just destroyed Ramsey Nijem while Dariush had some serious problems. I think Ferreira's wrestling is better. I think their ground games are pretty even, and while Dariush has some power on the feet, I think it's been proven that Ferreira has the better chin as well. So he's got a whole lot of intangibles, and I do think Ferreira is the better overall striker. So he has a lot going for him here. And I think he's going to be a little bit physically bigger. And he's fighting in Brazil, even though he's out of Texas now. He's from Brazil, so he's going to have that home field advantage. I think all the intangibles are going in Carlos Diego Ferreira's. They had Ferreira featured on the Countdown show, so I think UFC wants to put a little hype behind him. The guy's 11-0. He's a good talent. And, man, he is fighting so often. It's really impressive. So I think the UFC is impressed by this guy, and they're ready to give him a push.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. The line, though, is kind of getting up there. I mean, Dariush is no slouch. He's only lost once. So how high would this line have to go before it start to scare you off of Ferreira?
I don't know, maybe in the 250s, 300 range, because I think that it is a very realistic possibility that he doesn't just win, but he gets a finish.
Nick Kalikas, I thought that this line at minus 170 was a good bet. Obviously, Brian Heminger agrees, and obviously the betting public has agreed, because now it's up to minus 200. Where'd you open this line?
Minus 260.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. So the initial action drove it down. I mean, everybody was coming in on Nijem. First of all, let me say this: throw the MMA math out the window completely in this spot. I mean, it doesn't matter at all. I mean, Nijem, I know that he beat Dariush, and then obviously Ferreira just went through Nijem like that. But stylistically, this is the toughest fight Ferreira's had. I mean, amongst all 3 fights so far in the UFC, for sure. Colt Smith, a wrestler grinder; Nijem, a wrestler type of grinder. Those are definitely matchups catered kind of towards Ferreira a little bit. Now Dariush, he's a talented fighter. I mean, the guy has good jiu-jitsu, he's got good stand-up skill, he's got decent underrated wrestling as well. So this is a bigger challenge, even though, like I said, the Nijem factor comes into play here for Ferreira than the other 2 fights for sure. And you could say the same thing a little bit, for Dariush. Of course, this is going to be the toughest test to date for his career. But I opened it that high because I do think Ferreira has the advantages in this fight. Anywhere the fight takes place, I think he has a slight edge. But it's going to be a fight. It's going to be close. I mean, Dariush is going to come to fight. He's got a little bit of confidence back now because of his last win over Martins. That was very impressive. He took some punishment early on and managed to kind of keep everything together, keep himself composed, and finish off the fight in impressive fashion. So he's got a little bit of momentum on his side again, and he's going to come to fight. So this is the hardest test to date for Ferreira by far. All
right, but it's still that minus 200. Do you think that Ferreira might be the side with at least a little bit of value?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I opened it a little bit higher. So I think, if you're going to bet this fight, before we were saying it's a dog or pass situation. It's probably a favorite or pass situation, but just bet cautiously. I wouldn't go crazy betting this fight with tons of units, of course, because I'm telling you, I mean, I think this is the toughest test to date for Ferreira.
All right, well, at minus 200, it seems like Nick, Brian, and I are all kind of in agreement that we would lean to Ferreira, although we all would have liked it a decent amount more at minus 170. Thanks so much, guys.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.